The Ministry of Interior had chosen this large expanse of land, the size of 3 football fields, about 2 kilometers drive off the airport road, for the building of sets of bungalows and duplexes for staff of paramilitary organizations in the country. Among other officials, they invited President Goodluck Jonathan to not only lay the foundation for the estate, but also perform the groundbreaking ceremony. President Jonathan said he will get the Federal Mortgage Bank recapitalized, strengthen the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. He has a word for developers and mortgage houses.
There is no doubt that on completion, this project will boost the morale, productivity, security and welfare of beneficiaries. To fully realize this, mortgage schemes should be implemented with realistic repayment terms, taking into account the income and earnings of beneficiaries, because while paying, they must take care of their families. This is a worthy initiative which should serve as an example to other ministries, departments and agencies to commence collaboration with private property developers in addressing the housing needs of their staff.
At least 8,000 jobs will be provided for Nigerians from here, while over 2,000 units of houses will spring across the state in the next 2 years.
It is important to know that the houses, which are made up of 3 bedrooms, detached and semi-detached bungalows, 2 bedrooms, detached and semi-detached bungalows, will be sold when completed at affordable rates to beneficiaries.
I'm happy. I want to seize the opportunity to say that we have given land to most of the ministries, departments and agencies of government for cooperative housing, so that we can reduce the housing deficit and we can also bring down the threshold of affordability of mass housing and social housing to the workers.
We are looking at providing houses of 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, so that the low-income people can have houses.
And for the beneficiaries, this will indeed boost their morals and make them perform more.
Rekindles the hope of every member of paramilitary in this country. It has never been done before. We have seen it.
And we are very optimistic that it will be real.
Observers say those in the paramilitary sector, like their counterparts in the military and police, work very hard and deserve to be treated well. They hope the buildings will spring up fast as promised and be as affordable as envisaged to cater for the housing needs of the beneficiaries. Chukuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
On to education now. Authorities of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, have terminated the appointment of an associate professor, Dr. Bangboshe Titilayo, and an assistant lecturer, Mr. Bangbade Additional, over issues to do with plagiarism. At the just concluded 76th Statutory Council meeting, the Council also demoted 2 lecturers of the Department of Chemistry, Dr. Nkiko Olubumi and Dr. Ahmed Akinyeye, from Lecturer 1 to 2 over the same offence. Meanwhile, 12 lecturers were promoted to the status of professorship, while 25 moved to the position of readers in various departments in the university. Well, staying with education, bringing about the much-needed improvement in the nation's education sector will demand more than injecting funds into the sector. Now, the former Vice President of the World Bank, Mrs. Obi Ezekwesili, who made this known at the 3rd Education Summit organized by the Lagos State Government, insists that what's needed to improve the sector is to ensure that money allocated to it gets to be utilized. Before the Lagos State Governor, Babatunde Fashola, everyone should be involved in rebuilding the sector.
It is often said that education is the bedrock of development. This underscores the vital role education plays in any society. And it is not surprising that the Lagos State Government has organized the annual Summit on Education in Lagos State with the theme, Qualitative Education in Lagos, Raising the Standard.
I believe that the responsibility now lies with the teachers. We are gradually decentralizing the control of the ministry and putting the authority back into the classrooms and into the schools. And giving the parents also a responsibility that they cannot abdicate.
The Chief Speaker, Obi Ezekwesili, insists that one thing that can't be denied is that there are certain formidable obstacles in the way in achieving quality education and raising standards.
The bureaucracy in education is a hindrance to the raising of standards. And considering that education is an organic process, education is called a system. And so a lack of internal communication within the managers of education cannot be a panacea for raising standards.
According to her, 72.1% of children out of school in the world are Nigerians, while 35% out of the 160 million population of Nigeria are illiterates.
An estimated 61 million children of primary school age do not have access to education globally. Nigeria alone is home to an estimated 10.5 million out-of-school children in 2012. We need to understand is that even the basic minimum of fulfilling the MDG 2 goal, which is universal access to primary education, we're not going to achieve that by 2015.
There's likely to be no end to summits on education. But what is expected is that recommendations that will help propel the sector is considered.
Still ahead on the news at 10, CBN rates remain unchanged for a record 10th time. That's on Business News. Do join us then.
Never knew how much I love you. Never know how much I care. When you put your arms around me, I get a fever that's so hard to bear. You give me fever when you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight. Fever in the morning, a fever all through the night. Sun lights up the daytime, moon lights up the night. I light up when you call my name, and you know I'm gonna treat you right. You know I'm gonna treat you right. Drink milk every day.
Milk is richly packed with essential micronutrients, so more milk means more strength. Make sure you drink milk every day. Brought to you by Peak.
Putting smiles on faces is what we do. Doesn't it feel good to move forward? Stanbic IBTC Bank, moving forward.
Feel the innovation. All new Serato.